15 years ago, my father died under mysterious circumstances. I know how he died because I was there when the doctors turned off the machines, but I don't know why. I don't know why 12 weeks before I authorized the doctors to turn off the machines, his brain stopped working. Or more appropriately, it started working in a whole new and unproductive way. But I was with him when the feeding tube and the breathing tube were removed and the color drained from his face. 18 months later, I was in my office in New York City when a college friend called to tell me there had been a terrible accident and her younger brother, who was in his 20s, had suffered a massive traumatic brain injury. And she wanted to know everything I knew about hospitals and doctors and traumatic brain injuries. I told her what I could, and then a few months later, I actually moved to Los Angeles, completely unrelated to that, but where her brother was in the hospital and where her parents had relocated from China, where they were doing missionary work, to be with him. I made myself useful. I went to the hospital, I visited with them, I did errands for his parents. I got to know them. My friend's mom was religious in a way that was completely foreign to me. She felt God had called her back to the States to take care of her son, who was in fact released from the hospital into her care. They are now in their 13th year of caregiving for their son, who is a shadow of his former self. He's had multiple seizures since the accident, multiple infections. He's mostly unresponsive, and he cannot be left alone. And yet my friend's mom has given over her life willingly, graciously, to care for her child. I've had 2 kids of my own since this accident, and I've thought a lot about what it means to care for an ailing child, even one in their 20s, and what it means to care for an ailing parent, even one as relatively young as my father. And I still can't figure it out. About 3 years into their caregiving journey, I went for a walk with my friend's mom. We hadn't seen each other in a little while. I'd moved back east again. And we talked about Los Angeles, and we talked about doctors, and we talked about seizures. And it was during that walk that she told me it was a gift from God that my dad went as quickly as he did. And that was the first time I realized that she had no idea how it went down. That she and I were faced with the same choice, and we just chose differently. Make no mistake, there were gifts surrounding my father's death, but they were not from God. There were my friends who came over to pack my suitcase for me, because how do you pack for your father's funeral when he's still alive? There were the friends who bought my plane ticket. There were the friends who came over at 4 a.m. in the snow to drive me from my apartment to the airport. And there was the best gift I've ever received. And that's the knowledge that my father valued quality of life over quantity of life. And he would not have wanted to be on life support any longer than it took for us to say goodbye. This is a gift I hope all of you have received and none of you have to use. but in this time, it's important. And although I've had 2 children since the morning my father died, the greatest gift I have ever given was ending his suffering exactly how he would have wanted me to and bearing witness to his final breath. I wouldn't have had it any other way, but I don't wish it on any of you. Thank you.